I'm trying to get rid of the stink, the smell of this heat pad that's under here. I don't know if you can see it, I can't really. Let me put this glove on. I do recommend these gloves. I think there's only B&M sell these. They're for oven, like oven gloves. A bit dirty, this one, been well used. But they do help protect your hand against heat. And you've got like finger movements so you can grip things. So there's a heat pad stuck to that aluminium pad. I'll put some details here. Good heat pad, but once it gets to 120 odd, something like that, 100 plus, it creates a smell, and I think it's like the silken rubber that the coils are in. Forget this. I have had this on. This is a double temperature, dual temperature sort of switch. The problem with this is once it gets to about 115, it trips out because it overheats. Well, it gets the overheat signal, even though that signal is set at 120. So basically it can only go to about 115 degrees, it can't go to 120. So actually I've got that shorted out. I've got 24 volt power supply there, and all I'm doing is plugging it in the mains. I'm not going to find the plug. There we are. Once it gets a bit low like it is now, plug it in the mains. I'm keeping an eye on it. So that's plugged in the mains. You see the lights come on the power supply unit, and I'll wait until the temperature gets to about 138, then I'll unplug it again. And I'm doing that every so often, trying to stabilise the temperature about 130. 120 I think is recommended to do this, centigrade that is. Well, this has been producing quite a bit of smell doing this, and I've had it outside for a few hours doing this on 115, and I've had it inside on 115. I do have this fan blowing here, trying to blow out the smell through an open window I have. So I'm going to do this about 5 times maybe. Then I'm going to unplug it, let it cool down, get rid of any smell in here, and then plug it in and see if it's still smelling. It's not a very sort of nice smell in a way that it produces. So that's what I'm trying to do, and this gets very hot. So if you're even thinking about touching it, make sure you got an oven glove on or something to hold it with. See the temperature's gradually rising there. So I'll wait until that gets to 138, and then I'll unplug it. And then when it gets down to about 125 maybe, I'll plug it back in. You know, there's no have to be spot on there. So that's just captain tape holding it to. Well, that's the thermostat that comes with the. When this is plugged in, I can at least see. Well, no, I can't see the temperature, because even with the shorted out, once the temperature gets to 115, the HHH comes on, and that's saying it's over temperature, even though it's set to 120 in the unit. You can set the alarm on here, and it will trigger an alarm, a buzzing alarm. So this is totally shorted out at the moment, this dual temperature unit. It's pretty good. Apart from that, it's a bit hard to adjust this. You'll have to be pretty quick very quick at, once you press one button, you have to quickly press the other one, otherwise it goes off. I mean, I think it only gives you about half a second to start adjusting the temperatures. So as I say, these are this is the temperature probe for this unit, and there's a temperature probe for my Vichy VC99 which is getting to 160 now. So I'll stop this video now, and I'll come back after I've done this, like off and on a bit. So wait until that gets to about 135, then I'll unplug the mains. It'll allow this bed to cool down to about 125, then I'll plug it back in. I would say once it gets to about 128, it starts slowing down quite a bit on this temperature, like ramp up. So you have to be patient. If it's going down like, say, it seems to be going down like that, it's usually between a temperature change, 133, 134. So 133.25 I reckon there, because it's taking a bit of time to get to 134. Just wanted to show you that. So you have to have a bit of patience for it to get to 135. It's pushing it on the seat bed to get 135. Mind you, this fan is here, and that might be cooling it off a bit, although the fan is like high above this heat bed. So now it's on 135, 136. I'm going to unplug it. There we go. I'll let that temperature drop now to about 125, maybe 126, and then I'll plug it back in. So you have to be patient, and you have to be watching it a while. Remembering that will take a bit of time to cool down because of the heat mass. It's a shame that this doesn't go to even a higher temperature, and I haven't found higher temperatures than this. Says it goes to 120, but once it gets to 115 the alarm will go off. Well, on the set now I've got it set to 120 for the alarm, and that's the temperature. Well, it goes off at about 115, not 120. Well, I've done it about 4 times. This is the last time I'm going to do it. Probably get to 145 at the push there. Remembering that does overshoot a bit. So if you unplug it at 140, say, it will get to 142 probably. So I'm just going to let it cool down now. Clear this room out that I'm in. Oh, by the way, I would say don't stand in the room all the time. Get out there, only spend a minimum time in the room, because the smell of this is, you know, just a smell that you don't want to really be breathing, really, I don't think. So that's cooling down now. As I say, this unit is totally shorted out. Not using it at the moment. I couldn't get to 145 using this. Anyway, maximum is about 115 in my view. 24 volt PSU there. 24 volt. Well, I'll put some details of this heat pad down here. I'll come back in quite a few hours. I'm just going to leave this fan on. Go there. A couple of windows open, like to try and get the air through. It's a powerful fan. Probably hear it. Right. I'll come back in a couple of hours, see what the smell's like in here. Well, I can smell it now, even with that pushing at those temperatures. Well, it's cooled down to 35 there. Going down a little bit. I'm not sure what ambient temperature is in here. Actually, if I unplug this, it should give me the ambient temperature 26, because there's a temperature thing inside for the cold side, I think, because it compares cold side with hot side. Quite a good multimeter this actually. VC99, look up VC99, because there are also the Vichy VC99s, which are basically the same. Really good for hobbyists like me. Budget. If you hear that rattling noise, it's some cellophane I've got up here and the fan's blowing against it. So I'm going to leave this a few hours for any fumes to get out. Already the fumes are getting out, actually, you can tell. This is a heat pad I'm working on. Good heat pads. Goodbye. I can still smell it. I bought it. I've left it a few days, so it's had no excuse in a way. And it does smell. Now, I think some people say use baking powder, but all I've got is this bicarbonate of soda. Oh, I thought it had a sprinkler thing on, but it hasn't. So I'm going to try to spread this about just now on the back. Actually, I'm going to like rub it in a bit. And getting in the edges. Careful of these wires. These wires are for the thermocouple or whatever in the middle to get the temperature when it's on a heat bed. Am I going in and just checking the video? Yes, it's going in. So I'm going to press quite firmly. I'm going round in circles, getting near the edges, etc, etc. Maybe rubbing sideways. I'm going to press quite firmly now. The way I'm rubbing it, as you can see, backwards and forwards and up and down. Be careful of these parts where the wires are going in. Right, I'm going to do lightly because I want to try and spread it about a bit. Right, just move that over a bit so it doesn't fall off here. It just got stood on some litter bin sort of things. Right, I'm going to leave that on there probably a few hours. You get the idea there. Oh, actually I'm not sure about wetting this, but it is electric. Now this is 24 volts, as it says there, 24 volts, 300 watts. I don't know if you can make that out now, but as you've probably seen earlier. Right, I'm just going to leave that now. Do this corner a bit there, I think I missed a bit. I'll probably rub this again in a few hours time. I've added some water to it, and well, I've already done this once. We've waited till that almost dried, and then I'm moving this piles, because you get piles of this silica, bicarbonate of soda. Boric silica, that's a type of glass you have on a print bed sometimes. Get some water under the edges here if I can see it. But I'm hoping that this will soak in, although it's some sort of rubber. It might have pores in it. It does seem a bit less, the smell in here. But it's hard to tell because, well, not done a scientific test for one thing, but it just seems a bit less to me. So I'm just going to leave that to like soak in and dry now. Just using that paintbrush. So sorry about this being upside down, but just the way the camera's on it. So you can see this will probably have to be totally dried out, but some heat will. I'll probably put the heater on while it's like this after this dries a bit more. Just to say, I've repeated, like wetting it and moving it about with a brush. You can see the stain here. I don't know if there's water seeping underneath that actually, but it'll probably dry out. What I intend to do is I'm going to leave this quite a few hours now. It's been hours between each time I've done it. I've come in here and I can't smell the smell. I don't know if that means anything, to be honest with you, because I might have just got used to it to a certain extent. So tomorrow I'm going to check it out. It's pretty late at night now. I'll check it out tomorrow morning, and I'll probably wash this off under a tap or something. Dry it out by heating it up, and I might sprinkle some of the bicarbonate of soda on it and then put it back together. I also put some bicarb of soda on the cork that's down below, and I did put some dry stuff on the cardboard that I use. These cutouts are for the like thermocouple, whatever it is, and the power going in. So I'll just give you that bit of an update. So it's been quite a few hours before I've wet that again. Pretty dry. Yeah, it's like a very fine coating now of bicarb of soda with water in most places, although that, as you can see, there is a build up in other places. So you can see the looks like water ingress there. Don't know how that's got underneath the glue, if that's what it's done, and on that edge. But I just intend to leave it now. Well, I've left it overnight and it's early in the morning, so it's been quite a few hours. But I've just come in and I can't smell anything. I think I might actually leave this keep going, say bicarbonate of soda on. I'll show you the tub just now. So it's just using cake making and stuff like that. This is empty now. Well, I mean, have used it before for other things. This is good for mixing with super glue, actually. So there's a barcode, if you can scan that in, I don't know. It's just using cake making, that's why it's got nice cake on the front. I'll raise the cake, I believe. Right, yeah. I can't really smell anything. I'm going to leave it a bit longer. Well, as I say, I'll probably leave the bicarbonate of soda on there. Don't see why not. Feels quite, well, a bit like sandpaper. It's pretty dry now, it's dried on there. And that's without putting any heat on, mind you. It's only when I put heat on that I'll know if it smells or not. So I'll have to get wired up, because it's not wired up yet. Well, I disconnected it to do all this. Well, I've just picked it up and sniffed it, and I can smell it very, very faint if I hold my nose quite close to it and sniff it. But nowhere near what it used to be. The only way I know really is put some heat on it. So let's get wired up and get some heat on it. Well, I've tried repeated heating to 115, sometimes over 120, and some of this bicarbonate of soda, and it hasn't worked, so I'm told. I mean, I can't really smell anything, but my wife says yeah, she can. So I'm going to try some of this. I've just bought this soda crystals. Now this is crystals, which is going to be a nuisance. I'm probably going to have to mix it with water. I'll just try and get that QR code on so you can scan it in. So get the barcode on. So read the instructions. Irritant. Wear protective gloves. So I'm going to get some gloves. Now I'm going to open this up to see how big these crystals are. Having a clue. So I'll probably do one very strong actually. I intend to use this, which is just a thing off a paint tin or something, like a spray can. That's got the bicarbonate of soda still in there. Bicarbonate of, what's it called? Yeah, bicarbonate of soda. So I'm going to wash that out, rinse that out. Going to wash this off, rinse this off, make sure it's clean. Then I'm going to mix this with some water probably and paint this on. So it's laundry aid, so it says. Right, I'll do that. I'll do that off video, washing this, that is. One problem with using these soda crystals is that you can't use it, well, it's not recommended to use it with aluminium, and this is on an aluminium plate. I've removed the two other sheets of aluminium that I did have below it, but this is quite fine crystals. I'm just going to sprinkle some on like that. I'm going to notice I do have gloves on. Spread it about. Might be able to use this brush, I think it's dry. But actually what I'm going to do is rub it in. Trying to keep away from the edges. I'm getting too close to the edges where the aluminium is, or being bit more carefully the edges. I'm just going round and round in like a circular motion. What I intend to do is mix some of this with water, hot water or warm water, and paste it on like I did the bicarbonate of soda, which did not work really. I think that certainly wants wetting. So there you go, look at that. So I'm going to put some of this soda crystals. Actually, I'll probably use this because this is empty now. Take the top off. Just rinse this out. Put some soda crystals in here and some hot water, and then almost boiling water I reckon, then come up here and paste it on here. I'm going to leave that on while I do that. Well, while I get this sorted out, rinse this out first. So I've mixed up some of those soda crystals in here with some hottish water, quite hot, quite strong. Leaving this on, gonna go inwards from the edge because that's where the aluminium is. I think you might get a chemical reaction if you put it on aluminium actually. I think it might produce hydrogen. I'm unsure about that. It is highly recommended that you do wear gloves. You don't want this on your skin, bare skin, especially not anywhere where you might have cuts and nicks and such like. Look at that brush. This feels like it's slipping actually, this, so I have to be careful. So this will be quite concentrated because I didn't mix much. I had quite a bit of soda crystals and very little water in here to almost saturate it. So I'm just going to try and get as much of this as I can dissolved in the soda crystals, although it is saturated pretty much. Tapping it on the needy edges. A little bit more water, I think. Actually, pour a bit on here. Spread that about. I tend to put the heater for this pad back on just now. I would not recommend this with mains. This is a 24 volt 300 watt heat pad. To have it powered off a 24 volt power supply going through my temperature control unit. That looks good, nice, and the idea here is to get pretty even. Get a lot of light glistening off it. Right, I'm just going to leave that now to soak in. Not that it will soak in all that much in this like silk and rubber, I think it is, on this heat pad. So as I say, I leave that. I haven't got the heater turned on. I'm just going to leave it to dry out a bit and soak in a bit. But I've left it a while. Still looks wet. And I've just now put the temperature on, so it's coming up to 30 centigrade on the bed. Just make sure it is getting warm. Yes, I can feel the warmth coming off it. So I'm just going to leave the temperature to rise to 115 and leave it switching on and off for a while. You can see the, I've done a few candles, see some of the pattern of the circuit lines of the heat. Yeah. Seems to be bubbling a bit here. Where the thermocouple is. A few dry patches I think starting to appear. Right, I'll just leave that. So it's on, what's on now, it's 57. Oh, there's steam coming off. Yeah, I can see steam coming off. It's drying out. So I'm just going to leave it now. It's 195, 196 actually. You can see it's almost dancing away. So it's boiling off at this temperature. Remembering that 100 is boiling point and this is going to go to 115. It should do before it switches off and stabilise at about that temperature. It almost looks like it's forming a skin on it. Just over 100, 103, 104. That is well boiling. Can get much closer without it going out of focus. Well, the thermostat has just switched it off at 115, it's gone on to 116. As I say, a little bit of hysteresis, whatever it's called. See, it's almost like a layer of the white, like a skin. You can certainly feel the heat coming off this. I'm just going to leave it. It's switched on now, you probably heard it. 114. Seems to be a bit of a missing patch here. Little bits of patches missing in certain places. Like top of this, I still have this fluid left with the soda crystal mixture in. I'll show you here. So I've got this left. It's cold. Right, I'm going to leave it about an hour or so. Just going like this, where it's stabilised at about 115, 116 degrees. Give it an hour or so and come back. Well, I've unplugged it, I've just turned it off now, and I can tell you, yes, there is a smell, still a smell. So what I intend to do next is actually wash this off and give it a good wash, and I'm going to use some of this. This is quite good stuff so far as I'm concerned. You mix it 40 to 1, 40 lots of water to one of these. So for this bottle that comes in, you get an awful lot of disinfectant and you get various smells. There's a barcode. I've got some of that mixed in here with some water. Forget the label that's on here. This is still warm. It's still probably quite hot actually. I'm giving it a good soak while it's still got the soda crystal on. A really good soak. A lot of this will evaporate off quite quickly because it's still quite hot. So just spraying it like that. Right, now I'm going to leave it. Probably let that dry. Or well, I'm going to leave it a good half hour probably. It's been about a quarter of an hour. I'm going to give it another spray. It's pretty cold now. Yeah, it's cold. I'm going to give it another spray, quite a big spray with this, quite a lot of, get quite puddles of liquid on it with this. So that's this stuff. Concentrated disinfectant. Cotton fresh in this case, but you can get different scents. I'm going to leave that a couple of minutes, then I'm going to take it in the bathroom and wash it all off. I'll come back when I've done that. So it's had baking powder on it, it's had soda crystals on it, and then where it's had this disinfectant on it. I'm basically just going to wash it now. Some say heat it up and then just wash it. I'm going to wash it in dish washing up liquid, you know, that stuff you use on your plates, whatever it is. Dish soap and hot water. Right, I've washed it off. I used a small brush as well to almost scrub it about twice, and I've had the hot water, just normal hot water from a tap, running on it for a good half hour, running over it. And now I brought it in here. Well, I drained it off a bit, but I haven't dried it. I brought it in and I've put it back on the heater. So it's getting up to 42 now. I'm basically just going to leave it. Actually, I'm going to put it back on these plates now because I haven't got any more soda powder just now. I'll have to hurry up because it's getting hot, because I don't want, I have a plastic, as you might have seen there, I might have had I have a plastic carrier bag to catch my rubbish in the bin. Yes, it does look a bit white. It looks a little bit more white in the camera than it does in real life. Basically, I'm going to leave it now. I've got 2 fans on here and the window open. Yes, it looks quite a bit more white in the camera in parts. That might be because of the scrubbing. But sometimes I say use vinegar, white vinegar I believe, or lemon juice or something like that. Lemon, the juice out of a lemon. Get it hot, that releases the oils, and then wash it off. That's 2 seconds, and what I've been trying to do just now. Have it hot off the hot water and have the water running on it for a good half hour, turning it round, probably doing the other, you know, so the water runs the other way another half hour. Right, I'll just pause this, well, pause the video, getting up to 55. Well, I've turned off the heater just now because I've just come in and it's smelling even worse, if anything, or at least as bad. So that's been no advantage whatsoever doing any of those things. Well, I've allowed it to cool down and I can't smell anything. It's basically when it gets hot that it heats up, and I've tried all those methods I've tried, you know, bicarbonate of soda, soda crystals, washing it, dishwashing stuff, heating it, letting it cool, heating it, letting it cool over quite some times, and no benefit, so far as I'm concerned, a total fail.